Ready?
That's pretty stupid. Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast, episode 20-2. That is Podcast World, Podcast World.
Welcome to a show that we do sometimes.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get my brain back, but no,
it's down from Captain Power.
Captain Power. It's it's Captain World. It's Podcast World 20, episode 2. We are very close, very close to our 4th podcast anniversary.
It's so wild, isn't it?
Concurrently, which we'll make it concurrently, or probably close to it, our 200th episode. 200 episodes.
Things I never thought we'd be talking about.
200 core episodes, because we've had way more than 200 uploads, because I'm not counting bonus beats and all the other little extra stuff.
Interviews every once in a while, which we've got a lot of that coming up.
And then in the mixtapes. So anyway, we're your hosts. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Every week, we hang out and listen to great video game music from all consoles and all generations. We pick a silly topic, usually, and we find the best tracks to fit that topic, usually.
Subjectively. We try. Yeah. But, things happen.
And I'm going to get Pernell's mic closer to his mouth face. There you go.
I just ate.
And once a month, usually at the last week of every month, we do a live recorded episode for our Patreon members. It's a live streamed episode. It's just, so you're listening to the episode now, recorded.
All the mistakes. They ain't going nowhere.
But you could have been there hanging out with us while we're watching, commercials from the 1980s about toys and cartoons and talking about
just being ridiculous.
Our childhoods, that where we did stupid things.
And the amazing part, and I said this to another friend about this concept earlier, actually this week, is that even if this weren't a Patreon thing and that chat wasn't running and the camera wasn't running, we'd be doing this anyway. This is literally how we are.
This is what we do
on a typical hangout.
Yeah.
If we're at this computer, we'll just start getting nostalgic and stupid and out of nowhere. Yeah. Well then, remember Captain Power, bring it up on the real screen,
Pretty much, because if we're in the other room, we're usually eating and playing board games.
Pretty much.
That's what we do. So that means we should probably also start by saying that all of this month, I think this comes out in October or the beginning of October, all of October, most of October, and almost all of November, we have guests. We have musical guests. We have friends.
Weird, surprising crossover.
And we have big events coming up. Our 200th episode, we're going to do something special. We're probably going to have a lot of extra live streams. Not a lot, but we're going to have extra live streams for everybody. Not
there
just
might be
for
pudding.
Patreon, but we'll have something special for
Patreon. There might be pudding.
I'm going to get a cake.
There might be hot ice cream.
I'm going to get a cake with your face on it.
Ew!
And then we're going to eat your face.
That's disgusting.
It's going to be awesome.
And mercy, I actually just heard of a game recently where that just ties in, and that ruins me.
And then we were talking with a bunch of other friends of ours, Ed from the VG Embassy and Cameron Werma from, I guess he's an agent.
Let's call him a podcasting agent.
A podcasting agent.
Because he's in the thick of it.
He's a talent agent. And
he's an agent of talent.
And also Cameron Childs, Bruce Irons from the Mad Gear. They're all coming to MagFest in January, a great music and gaming festival, and which means I'm going to have to go and be social.
And I'm going to have to go and dodge my Pokemon responsibilities.
Yeah, dodge all your responsibilities. except for this one, because we might be doing a show at the show.
Here's the hoping. I really hope they give us that slot.
That'd be great. So MagFest 2020, be there.
Or be there.
And that's it for the show.
That's the only option you got.
No, so today's show, and like most live streamed episodes, we play music chosen from our listeners, mainly chosen from our Patreon subscribers.
Though I had an interesting thing I wanted to do before this episode started, because I think it would be funny, and it's also true to life. So it's been a weird week for me. Some might even say a weird month. And started thinking down the lines, like maybe I should look into being a person who doesn't buy a lot of games.
Yes.
Or tries to.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Because I'm weird in that sense. A lot of my game purchases don't come from the sense of what people typically expect when they say, I want this new game to play. That sounds cool. Mine is purely for the dopamine. And also for fun games. I'm not buying junk. But that's a large part of why I buy my games. I like that feeling of getting something cool and new. And I accepted it. So I was like, maybe next month I'll try. Maybe for the month of October, I won't buy any games. And a couple people, including listener Dan L. and David T. and even listener TF, have been had my back for it. And of course, Rob has always had my back on that topic. But as a funny thing, of course, the people typically will say is, well, one way to not buy new games is to play the ones you've got. Play the games you already have. Of course, that doesn't quell the dopamine want, but it does make perfect sense. And I thought it'd be pretty funny before starting the show to read off a list of games I wrote down over the course of like 20 minutes before coming here. These are all games I've started on the PS4 but have not completed. Solely started.
Okay.
This doesn't include games I never opened or told myself I would get around to.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
That's not going to happen. But let's see how far I can get.
Starting now. Go.
Borderlands 3, Trails of Cold Steel 1, Trails of Cold Steel 2, Dragon Quest Builders, Gravity Ghost, Spyro the Dragon Trilogy, Crystar, Death End, Hoggy 2, Y2K, World of Final Fantasy, Sonic Mania, Dragon Star Varnier, Monster Hunter Ice Age, Super Neptunia RPG, Rage 2, Steel Red, Shakedown Hawaii, Steam World Heist, Resident Evil 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, Raiden 5, Robbie Reeby, Demon Gaze 2, Sundered, Dragon Quest 11, Caladrius Blaze, Metal Max Zeno, Whoopo, Rainbow Moon, Super Del Deluxe, Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus,
and
Children of Zodiacs, Shot Cladud Returns, Cosmic Star Heroine, Exist Archive, Hue, Dark Souls 3, Super Robot Wars OG,
Hue?
Grand Kingdom, Star Ocean, Gone Home, Dragon Quest Heroes, World Trees White Blight and White Below, whatever, stupid name, Poncho, Chronicles of Teddy, Dying Light, Digimon Cyber Sleuth, Gianna Sisters, Assault Android Cactus, Velocity 2X, Citizens of Earth, Disgaea 5, Life is Strange, The Scapegoat 2, Transistor, Outlast 2, and Rogue Galaxy.
I myself, one who does not play many games, have finished a few of those.
I know you. That's why I figured you'd get a chuckle out of it.
Granted, Scapegoat 2 took me a long time to finish.
That's a brutal game.
Because it was hard.
Yes, it is.
But it's not long. Hue. You never finished Hue?
I'm near the end of Hue, but I still included it on the list because it still is incomplete.
Yeah, it's good. And I've seen you play Robbie Reeby a ton, but that's tough.
And that's why, because I put it on, the typical...
75% of these games are on a difficulty that you can't finish.
No. It's just a difficulty that
you can't finish.
Timer. No. Robbie Reeby is different.
That you don't have the skill to complete.
Hey, you watch your mouth. No, Robbie Reeby is the word, like, I think I'm at a boss that I shouldn't have gone to yet.
Yeah, because I remember I was trying it, remember?
Yeah.
You're like, here, Rob, why don't you give it a shot? And I'm like, why does your X button feel all broken? And you're like, ah!
I love how Phantom just said, is that all just on PS4? Yes, it is.
That's true.
That does not include the Switch, the Xbox One, the 3DS, the Vita, the DS.
Get those dopamine hits by completing these titles.
And I think that's going to be part of the interesting component here.
You can do it, man.
So,
because
of course.
It's satisfying. These games are satisfying from start to finish.
I agree.
I don't know if you're going to have that satisfaction coming back into it.
I think that's part of the enjoyment of the element of the interest, too, is going into these games being like, okay, let's get back to business. Do you feel compelled to keep going, or are you going to find yourself going, meh, I'm done, moving on?
Yeah.
And I will say, doing the review sometimes also affects that too, because you'll be doing a review for something. That means it's a brand new entry of something. Like, I can try something new, see how it is, see how it goes. But like I said, I think this is going to be an interesting little adventure. And I'm starting out with October to see how it goes. And also, for the record, for those who listen to that entire list get read off, now you know the origin of the game of the month.
Why we have a game of the month.
Because it's not so much about me buying a new game to play. It's let's play a game on my list. Because I've got a lot.
Play a game on his list, and also to encourage me to actually play something other than Dance Dance Revolution and Final Fantasy X. Anyway.
Davey Cake
not going to change. Not going to change.
I feel personally attacked. I own and have started so many of those.
Yeah. There's just too many games. Too many games.
Too many games, literally.
All right, I'm going to start our show with a track from Electric Boogaloo, which I know you're going to love this one.
Oh.
And I never heard about this soundtrack, and apparently it's different in America. It's for the game Cyber Speedway It's from the game Cyber Speedway for the Sega Saturn.
Oh, okay.
And it's composed or performed by the Bygone Dogs, which is composed of Joel Alvares, Tim Allen, and Brad Kaiser.
Wait a minute.
Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Tim Allen. No. No, the Santa Claus.
the very same.
The old dogs. No, this is the bygone dogs. Wow, that's too close. Yeah, so Joel Alvares, Tim Allen, and Brad Kaiser. And this is a track called Tabatha. And actually, I think I have a lot of vocal tracks for this episode, so I hope you enjoy it. This is from Cyber Speedway for the Sega Saturn. Let's go. right, that was Tabatha from the game Cyber Speedway for the Sega Saturn, and that was performed and composed by the Bygone Dogs, Joel Alvares, Tim Allen, and Brad Kaiser. And Electric Boogaloo picked this track, and he would like to say, I like to say that, he would like to say, this track specifically comes from the US version of Cyber Speedway, which has a mostly unique soundtrack compared to the PAL and Japanese versions. PAL being the European versions.
As my friend.
Or just your good friend, your pal. It is performed by the only signed band to the short-lived Sega music group, the Bygone Dogs, led by late Joel Alvarez.
Oh.
Yeah. According to music producer Spencer Nielsen of Echo and Sega Sonic CD fame, wow, they had planned to release a full album simultaneous to the game's release, but was canceled when sales of the game were not met to expectations. The band broke up shortly thereafter, and Sega Music Group eventually folded. Since Alvarez passed away a few years ago, I figured I'd keep his memory alive by sharing this fantastic Cars-inspired track. And the lead singer of Cars recently passed away.
Oh my God!
This is really good. Like I was not looking at the game. I wasn't expecting this music because the game is a very futuristic, looks like Wipeout, but came out just a few months before Wipeout.
Well, maybe that's why too. I mean, like one thing I can definitely say is I feel like when the CD era was like really ushering in that sense of like CD audio, people were just doing whatever the heck they wanted. Like to go back to one of my favorite consoles, the TurboGrafx / Turbo Duo. Mm-hmm. A lot of the games, if not most of them, had like rock and metal OSTs.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times the games had no business even having a rock OST, but I guess they figured this is the best way to showcase Red Book audio on this console.
Well, it's so
to put like rocking instruments.
Exactly,
into
it's
play.
so different. You're so used to hearing like the sound chips doing their thing, or sampled audio sequenced like on the Super Nintendo, but to hear like live instrumentation at this time was incredible.
Yes.
I was listening to the VG Embassy while I was traveling, the latest episode, and he played music from, I think it was on the Sega Saturn. It was a Spider-Man game. Spider-Man versus the Kingpin.
Yeah, that was the track. I got geeked for that.
Yeah, and I was surprised that he explained that it had a bunch of music on the disc, and it would just play them randomly on any stage.
The thing is, there were games, I don't truly remember too many of them because they were usually the ones that honestly, it kind of annoyed me when games did that. But yeah, there were definitely some games where they would just have a roster of tracks that would just play willy-nilly. Also, back then, there was a habit where certain games would have the track where, in typical game audio, the track would loop. Like when you do tracks on the show, you set them to loop. But they would, on those style games, they would have the track, it would play, then it would stop, and then it would reload the track, and then it would go again from the beginning. So it was like, it had this weird like moment of silence where nothing was happening.
Well, Red Book Audio is a format where it would it would spin the disc, find it, read it into memory, and then play it. And then when it was done, it couldn't just go back. It had to read it again. Yeah. And I think that's why and it was also had to do with the compression type used on it, but that's why it was called what it was. There's different books, depending on the different methods and technology that they used at the time. I think Sony created it. I could be wrong. There's a great Retronauts episode all about game music and Red Book Audio, and I suggest checking it out because I remember when there was a game on the PlayStation 1 called Soul Reaver?
Yeah, that was a game on PS1.
It's kind of green, right? On the cover.
Yeah, it was the sequel to Legacy of Kain?
Yeah, Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain. It would load the music off the disc and play it even when the game was loading other parts of the stage. And I thought that blew my mind because I was so used to hearing the music and the sound just drop out of the game before you got like onto the next part of like another stage or another world. Because it was loading up everything, but it would load it all into memory and keep playing it while it was loading up everything else. It was just fascinating to me that no one else did that.
Honestly,
even Symphony of the Night had like the special rooms.
Yeah, and it would just stop. That was honestly always a very intelligent way to hide load time.
It was cool because it felt like, it's quiet and like kind of ominous.
I didn't even think about it like that. I was just like, I liked the fact that I felt like I was doing something while the game was doing its behind-the-scenes trickery. It was a very smart way, just like how Resident Evil did the doors, though it wasn't as cool with the doors because you knew it was loading and you weren't doing anything. You were watching a door open up. but it's still, for the sake of that game, built that sense of suspense. Where you're like, what's behind the door? It could be anything, even one of those lickers or haunters or hunters.
Hunters. So we have. I asked on Facebook, the Facebook group VGM Podcast Fans. I put out the question, or I put out the request for questions for you and I.
Okay.
And we got a bunch.
Really?
What do you want to answer some questions in between some tracks?
All right, let's do one now.
Yeah, we'll do one now. Okay. Here we go. This one's complicated. We'll figure that one out later. So is that one. Here we go. Alex the messenger says, "What is Purnell's secret to being a wonderful human being?" And Rob is pretty okay too.
Did he seriously say that?
Yes.
That was really nice of him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know. I couldn't answer that. I just personally, I'm me. As you know what, I've had this discussion, not so much about
Why am I cool?
not from a self-serving perspective, just the general, like, why are you the way you are? And the best answer I've ever had was, growing up as a child, going into high school and all that, I got picked on a lot. A lot. There was a period when I was fat, I got picked on. There was a period when I was thin, I got picked on. Period when I was too tall, got picked on. The period where I wouldn't hit girls, got picked on. The period where I still don't hit girls, but there was a period when I would pretty much, I like to keep to myself, so I got picked on playing video games, got picked on, you name it, I got picked on for it. And I've come to notice over the years that with people that dealt with that sort of stuff growing up, they can go one of two directions.
Yes.
There's other ones, but there's just two, like the solid ones. There's obviously variations. You could become what you hated, which is you let it all make you really angry and frustrated.
Yeah.
And then when you get to a position where you can become the tormentor, you revel in it and you treat people like hot buttered garbage because why not? They did it to me. That's why I can do it too. And even though it's a little bit, actually it's a lot not as harsh, I still think of it in that same way when people say, like, why are video games becoming more accepted now? I got bullied for them. Why are they allowed to get a pass? Why are they cool now? And I think that falls on that side of that scope, just not as harshly. Then there's the other half, which says, I hated being treated like trash for no reason but being who I am. And as a result, I'm going to do whatever I can to not be that kind of person to others. I want to be nice to people because the world needs more like that and less like people that create sad, depressed, or angry people by bullying them.
You don't want other people to feel the way you did.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's partly why, to go back to the video game analogy thing, is why, like, when people say, why are games so accepted now? This is dumb. Like, the statement when people say, girls don't play video games. People say that. You always say, growing up, it was a thing because back then it was much less common because games were very much labeled a nerdy, dorky thing you did. It was kind of hampered on, and also I think it was just maybe tech-related crap, whatever.
No, marketing.
In marketing. Oh, marketing for sure.
Which has not changed a whole lot.
It really has.
Sadly.
But
depressingly.
For whatever reason being, I don't even care, but for whatever reason, it's become much more accepted now. There are women that play games. There are girls that play games. I think a lot of it may stem from their parents playing games growing up. They have a daughter. It's like, I want my daughter to like what I like. I want to bring her into it.
Women developing their own games.
Yes.
With other, with a broader audience in mind. We need more diversity in the industry.
Yeah. Yes. So people will take that and go, and they'll get upset about it, like, what the heck is this crap? When I was a kid, I got picked on for it. But then the response should really be, I'm really glad it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's open season. Everyone can play. I mean, firsthand, I don't even like mobile games like that. I'm not a big fan of them. When a game I like gets ported to mobile as the new sequel goes straight to mobile instead of a console, I'm the guy that's like, oh, no. But with that said, I will never go around and do that thing where people say, oh, you a mobile gamer? You're a mobile only. No, You like games, have fun with them. Because that's what it's all about. I probably went off tangent a bit on the question, but
no, I think I was kind of like hoping you would go in that direction anyway. I think we were going to go off on that because I felt like that was a good thing to ask, and I'm okay too. Thanks, Alex. Thumbs up. I'm trying my best. That's all we can do. Because no one is ever going to be perfect.
That's for darn sure.
Yeah. All right. Pernell, what did you pick for your first one?
All right, let's see what I got on the old Helter Skelter bus.
As usual, out of our whole list of tracks, you were like, I want all of them.
Give me every song. Well, I'm going to go with this first one because it goes to my nostalgia box, and I was happy to see it get chosen.
Cool.
This comes from listener That Nick Walker, and the track title is Phenac City, or Phenac City, however you want to pronounce it. The game didn't have dialogue, so we never heard it. From the game Pokemon Colosseum for the Nintendo GameCube, composed by Tsukasa Tawada. Welcome back. We're listening to Phenac City from the game Pokemon Colosseum for the GameCube. I gotta settle down. I'll tell people in a second why.
GameCube.
From the GameCube, composed by Tsukasa Tawada, submitted by listener That Nick Walker. And I am in stitches because there was a thought that came to mind for this. It was true to the game, but I never took it to that level until we were just rambling about it, which is that I love this track in the actual game proper because it just has a nice feel to it. I don't know why it sounds like this, but it sounds good in the game proper when you hear it in the first town of the game. But we were joking about that old episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes to the cursed gift shop. And how he talks to the guy. He's like, "Hey, I want to sell you this. I want to buy that Krusty doll." Like, the Krusty doll's cursed, but it comes with a free Frogger.
Yeah,
and it was just like we were taking the ups and the downs of this track.
It really does that.
It.
I'm looking at it, and it's really like every 15 to 20 seconds, it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. It sounds like a lullaby, like at the beginning, like a really like chill, classic lullaby, and then like. Yeah, man, get that accordion out.
Wrangle them horses up and go. Don't have a cow.
So, yeah, I never really had Nintendo consoles. And the GameCube is especially like a weird thing to me. Like, looking at it, I'm like, oh, it looked like it had the controller ports of a Dreamcast.
Oh, the GameCube?
Yeah.
The GameCube
That's what it looked like to me. Like, it had the same shape, and it had four ports on the front, right?
I've heard more than a few people.
But then it had a handle.
Yeah.
It looked like a Happy Meal.
It really did. It really looked like a Happy Meal box.
A little purple Happy Meal from McDonald's.
A friend of mine made a comment a few weeks ago in regards to this system, which I think makes a lot of weird sense. He said that he had read somewhere that there was a person complaining about missing the days when game consoles looked like game consoles. And at first, it didn't quite click for me. Hang on. But it didn't quite click for me. I was like, what are you freaking talking about?
Yeah.
But then it started to make a little bit of sense. There was a period, most likely around the PS2, where developers were saying, we need to make all of our game consoles look sleek and slick and stylish. So you started getting these consoles that were like just solid bricks of black.
Right.
And smooth surfaces, and the buttons weren't buttons. They were these things where you kind of rubbed your finger across it, and they would just activate. But then he made a comment, saying, I think the GameCube was the last home game console I can think of that felt and looked like a game console.
I think I think it means game consoles look like toys.
Yes, but that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Look like toys. Like
Yeah.
like you said, the GameCube had a freaking handle. Carry it to your friend's house and just lay it down and drop 4 controllers in it.
This music is cracking me up.
It's so good.
Every time it happens.
Yeehaw, man! But that's what it would do. Is like they all had this. Like you would look forward to seeing what the new consoles look like, and they can look like anything.
Yeah.
Because they can look like just toys.
Yeah.
But now they're like it has to look sleek and pristine.
It's gotta look okay in your living room.
Yeah.
You know,
But no one cared back then. Your
of a-
Dreamcast was in your living room. No one cared.
Okay, let's go back further.
Super Nintendo.
The Atari 2600 looked like it could fit right in the living room at the time.
Yeah, because those oak TVs.
At the time, and the controller ports were on the back because they didn't want to have like all this, like stuff sticking out the front and everything like that. So yeah, so if you had like this big wooden TV stand and set in your wood-paneled basement, looking at you, Ed Wilson, and
Wood.
I'm jealous. All I'm saying is I'm jealous. And like that Atari 2600 would fit right in there.
Honestly, my living room was exactly like that growing up. We had the wood frame TV. We had the wood panel walls. And I miss it. I like that aesthetic. Those every year, every day of the year, you had fall aesthetic colors in your living room because that just made sense. Like the curtains, fall.
All right, we have another question. So the quiz question comes from Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast.
Okay.
And this one's a little bit of a thinker.
Okay.
Okay, if there was an evil doppelganger version of Rhythm and Pixels, what would it be called, and what would the podcast be about? So immediately, I'm thinking it's
already got it.
Arrhythmic Cardboard, and that's our new podcast, where it's Evil Rob and Evil Purnell talking about board games.
We were on a similar page on a train of thought because I started thinking about it and I came up with something too. Discord and polygons.
Discord and polygons.
Most specifically, polygons from like the low res, the PS1 and the Saturn are just coming out when everything looked blocky and meh. That pairing. Your counterpart would be named Rad. Mine would be named Linrep. And all the music we choose
Linrep
would be music suggested by listeners, but you take it and make all the rhythms slightly off. So it would be annoying. You'd basically butcher everyone's favorite songs.
like what I was doing earlier.
Not that. That was entertaining. I'm talking like dang near Silver Gunner level trolling.
Oh my god.
Where everything, like this track would be like musical terms, like you would set this like a 5/8 or something.
Oh, I see. I would just I would put everything off tempo and everything weird.
Yeah, like someone would pick a track and they'd be hearing it, trying to groove to what they know is right, and it'd be like,
I didn't make the joke here. I made a joke somewhere that we were going to turn this show into like hardcore political banter, but no, it's not anywhere. I mean, we can talk about politics. I talk about personal politics all the time, but
that was a question
American politics. No. I made a joke about it at some point. I was like, no, we're gonna quit doing video game music because we thought we played it all. All right, so my next track, I don't know which one I'm gonna pick from. I think I'm gonna pick this one, and it's because I haven't listened to it yet. I've been saving it for the show. This is from the newest DLC, or not DLC, but it's like the sequel /
like the epilogue.
Epilogue to Celeste, called The Farewell. And this is a track called Stasis, composed by Lena Rain.
I knew you would pick this track.
Yeah,
you had to.
I know, and I haven't listened to it yet because I want to hear it now. And this was picked by Chris Murray, so thank you, Chris. Let's listen to the tune. You're listening to Stasis from the game Celeste Farewell, which is the epilogue, the last little goodbye from the game Celeste.
Goodbye.
Track composed and performed by Lena Rain. And yeah, this is really what I expected.
This is a gem.
Because what I have seen and what I know about the epilogue of Celeste is, I mean, the game is all about, it's mostly about her, dealing with her depression and her struggle, and the mountain is just a metaphor for her, struggling through it and overcoming it, and then ultimately befriending her own demons. And it's amazing.
Is that the end of the game? She becomes friends with Dark Madeline?
I mean, like, not the very end, because you need her. So,
to chase you around the ruins?
Did you put this on that list you just said earlier?
No, this was the PS4 list. The Switch list, I only just started, and Celeste is on there.
As I played this on the PS4. It's a lot easier, I think, with that controller.
Yeah, it gets a little dicey.
So in this one, she goes back to the mountain. I think it's because the grandmother or her mother who talks to her, she passes. I think she's traveling. I think she's either revisiting the mountain or she's revisiting the mountain to scatter the ashes, which I think is really cool. But my problem is that I'm never going to play it.
Why not?
Because
Final Fantasy X.
Okay, so you think of Celeste as a perfect slope of skills that you learn in difficulty, to the point where at the very end of the game, even if you're not doing any of the like the extra stages,
yes,
it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. But you're getting better. You're getting better. You're getting better. You're getting better. Until the very end of the game, it is just maddening.
Just kind of peaks.
It just drives you insane how hard it is, but you can do it. But you can do it. And then you got all the B-sides. And even the B-sides are like that. They get harder and harder and harder and harder and harder.
So even they have a difficulty scale.
Oh, yeah, but they start like on the higher end of it. So let's say you get to the very end of the game.
Yes.
And then you stop.
And I stop. That's what I do, but I never beat it.
A year later, you come back to it. All of those skills that you've built up, gone.
There's no. They're still into you. You just have to dig them out.
You have to relearn everything.
No!
So that's the problem. So my problem, and this is my problem, I'm not blaming anybody else, but going back to Celeste Farewell, I know that it starts at the top of that difficulty scale. And I don't know if I have the patience right now in my life to jump in and just do that.
I would take a gamble to say at least start it and see if what you say is true, because I'm of the belief, and this comes from years of music and Bimani games.
Wait, you believe in me?
Guess.
I don't know about that grind. That's not making me feel real good. I don't know if I'm part of this gang anymore.
Hey, JFDI! But, no, at least for like music games and stuff, what I've come to learn, especially because of music games, is that the skills never go away. When they're there, they're there. Sometimes it just takes that dip in the pool to shock them back into you. Like, I played Poppin' for years, got up to like the high levels, like 38s and junk, which now is like 3/4 of the difficulty rent, whereas it used to be beyond that. And hadn't played for like 5-6 years. Go to the arcade on a whim and try it because they have it now, and boom, I'm right back at it. And you saw me on Pump. Even though I'm fatter and more sleepy,
I want to go up with you.
I was breaking those records like I was playing at Dave & Buster's again. At 21.
I know we're recording, but what are you doing Saturday?
I don't even know yet.
We might be doing that.
All right, we'll talk shop.
I've been thinking about that game. No, that's true, because I stopped playing DDR for a while, and then I got injured, and I really stopped playing for a while. And I looked on my Facebook page, and I didn't get the pad that I have now, which is an arcade pad, like not even a year ago. And I went from not playing at all, being like, I can do 10s and 11s again. Jumped right back into it, doing 10s and 11s. But but when I left off, I was barely getting into 13s. I'm doing 14s now.
Hey.
I can just super endurance marathon. Like, I can just knock it out.
Kung Fu Carlito said flat out, it's kind of similar to fighting games, man. You just have to shake off that rust.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, the reason I stopped playing Celeste was because I stopped enjoying it. And so I'm afraid that I'm going to go back to this and not enjoy it.
Also worth noting, I haven't even gotten that far in Celeste, but I'm going to speculate this. Farewell is an epilogue chapter. I'm going to wager that they did not design it to have peak difficulty or even B-side level difficulty. It's probably going to be, it's really meant to be brutal.
Yes. Yes, that's.
How does it hit on the difficulty scale?
I've seen screenshots. It looks like some of the later B-sides.
Intriguing.
At the beginning.
Still try it.
I think I will, because you know what? Easy mode.
That's right. They added an assist mode.
Assist mode, I forgot about that until now. So I think I'm going to do that. Okay, we have another question. New question.
42.
New question.
Noob question.
We'll do a silly one. Now that Purnell shaved his goatee, which is growing back nicely.
I might keep.
This is from Mike Levi's. Now that Purnell has shaved his goatee, how is he dealing with the loss of his superpowers? This is Mike Levi's from the XVGM radio podcast.
Levy!
I don't know. It's Justin Levi. It's Justin Timberlake.
Stop it!
And Mike Levi's. So how did you deal with the loss of your superpowers? Which I disagree with, Mike. I think you gained superpowers when you shaved.
I don't know. I think it's more of like it's like an inverted power. It's not so much that I lose a power, it's that it changes to a different one, and when the hair grows back, I get a new power.
You know what you lost when you shaved?
Warmth.
5 years. You lose 5 years when you shave.
Tell that to all the single ladies.
You look so much younger.
Tell that to them.
You do.
Tell it to them. Be like, yo, I got this friend. He misses his hair.
Like when I grow facial hair, I look younger, but then when I shave it, I look older. You're the opposite. When you grow it, I feel like you look older. Then you shave it, and you look younger.
And the weird thing about it is that throw this out there. I guess last weekend I went to a wedding in Chicago, right? Saw a bunch of friends I haven't seen, in some cases 2 or even more years. It's been ages. A lot of those friends happen to all have beards now. Lustrous beards.
Super beards.
Super beards. I am there with my bald face. Hey guys, how's it going? You like my baldness here? They're all like, what happened to your beard,
Did you feel left out?
Oh, I was so left out.
I know.
And we were all talking
but
back
in the
and forth.
best way. You stick out from the crowd now.
I wanted that hair. I wanted theirs. My old beard was all gray fuzz and like it's wisdom hair, yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't lustrous. It was just the power of wisdom. It was like that third Triforce piece on my beard. And not having that and watching these guys with their locks talking about how they bore brush it and they put gels and creams in it to manage it and make it feel so good.
Dude.
And I'm sitting here like I just grow scraggle.
Grooming's important.
Did you learn too? But the problem is I've always had low hair.
I know, yeah.
Always. So it translates to the beard. So it's like I got these little curly cues that grow out, and it's like it's there, but it's not thick and full. And they're like, just gotta board brush it, man. I'm like, really? I can't beat this into submission. This is just kind of there. It's just kind of hanging out on my face. And I like it because I like having that thing where you can kind of take your face while you're thinking, go,
I'm still thinking about that Triforce analogy. And you can't say that without like shaving that somewhere on your face.
The Triforce of wisdom in my beard.
Actually, no. Have you ever seen like the triangle goatee, where it's like it starts at like the bottom of your lip?
Have a good night,
out.
Pop. I think Fu Carlito. He had to step out for the night.
Oh well, good night. I feel like that's the grossest of all the goatees.
The one that goes into your mouth and you can chew it?
No, it's like a triangle.
Oh, that bit that goes under your lip.
Yeah, I think that one's an unfortunate one. I think like if you have that goatee, I'm so judgy. I feel like if you have that goatee, you have to be like the front man for like I don't know.
They might be Rob. You don't know.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
First of all,
squirrel nut zippers.
They would not. Neither of those bands.
Yeah.
Neither of those bands.
Like
I'm thinking more of a metal band before I think the Squirrel Nut Zoot Daddies.
Like a new metal band.
No.
Yeah.
Don't tarnish metal like that. No, it's not new. These would be legit.
Give me something to break.
These would be some Mastodon. Don't mess with that.
All right. Mastodon. All right.
I just threw that out there.
That's the only one I know. But what's your next track?
All right. So I'm going to follow suit on the Chris Murray-isms. And I'm going to play a track that I also picked from his wonderful selection options that he provided us. This one's from a game that wouldn't be on my Switch list since I haven't started it yet. It's just sitting on the table.
That's a long one.
Yeah. We might just, for the sake of the time of the show, maybe run some of it and just start talking.
Oh, no, I meant the game is a long one.
Oh, yeah. It's a lengthy game.
Yeah.
But this track is from the recently released Nintendo Switch game Astral Chain by Platinum. It's for Nintendo Switch, like I mentioned earlier, and it's called Savior, submitted by listener Chris Murray, and there are some vocals involved. So prepare yourself.
Let's dig in.
keep holding on until we break the spell. Free yourself, reach for the light in darkness and despair. If there comes a time when you are falling down, I'll be your savior. Don't need to be afraid, don't need to look away. You'll never be alone, let's show them that we're here to stay.
Fight for a paradise, fight for our lives. So keep holding on until we break the spell. Let the truth reveal itself in this chaos. Fight for a paradise, fight for our lives. So keep holding on until we break the spell. Free yourself, reach for the light in darkness and despair. If there comes a time when you are falling down, I'll be your savior. I'll be your savior.
Yeah, so that was the song Savior from the game Astral Chain, released recently on the Nintendo Switch, submitted by listener Chris Murray and composed by Hiroyuki Fujino, with lyrics by Maz Kimura and vocals by William Aoyama from Intersection in Beverly.
I think the group is called Intersection and Beverly, or it's just Intersection and maybe she just wanted to go by Beverly. But that's all that was on the
And Beverly.
on the CD on the official soundtrack.
Yeah, but I heard that and I could not go and not select that track. That, to me, that hit like a sack of hammers.
I need more of this.
Fluffy hammers.
This is the speed that I love. I love the synthesizers. I love that the bass.
Hits all the right notes.
Oh, the kick drums. That snare is like this heavy, like it's like a gunshot of a snare drum. That snare drum. I call it the snare drums.
I'm pretty sure I'm kind of off in a way, because I remember the music in this show wasn't quite like this, but for some reason it still gave me like feelings of like Bubblegum Crisis.
Yes. Yeah, it's just the opening theme to Astral Chain.
Yeah.
It does have that kind of like
Future City
Aliens anime theme, like anime show theme.
Now, like the idea behind Astral Chain, which is also a reason why I was interested in trying it out.
Yeah,
is
I honestly don't know anything about it.
You are basically living in like the atypical last bastion for humanity city, and it's a very heavily populated, futuristic atmosphere. And you play as a police officer for the local police force, and not only are you battling the typical crime, fighting crime in a future time, as they say, but you are also dealing with an alien onslaught that's trying to wipe out the remainder of humanity. So, in order to make it easier to combat them, science has made it possible to enslave some of these aliens and kind of convert them into something called a legion. So they are sort of like demons on leashes, or aliens on leashes.
They're like demons we've turned into Roombas?
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
Because the aliens walk alongside you, but you have them by a chain, like a vicious dog. And you can like tell them to go fight monsters, and they'll go and fight for you.
Oh.
Or they can like jump chasms, then pull you across with the chain, and like do all kinds of interesting like tandem attacks and features. Like you can ride on top of like the more feral four-legged ones, stuff like that.
Crazy.
And it's an interesting concept because you take like the combat that Platinum Games is known for, crazy combos and like, and then you have this
What other
buddy
games have
system,
they done? I don't know.
like Bayonetta. Actually, the main one I can think of is generally Bayonetta.
Okay, so it's a
But, like, other-
heavily like 3D battle combo.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
But like, there's other games they've done too. Like, I want to say they did like a recent anime game like this that I didn't bother with. They did Wonderful 101. Yeah, I want to say they did Wonderful 101 too, but it's been a minute. But basically, they're really good at like doing very combo influence or combo heavy, action packed, brawler type titles. And honestly, this works for me. The odd thing about this game is, in addition to the normal tasks that you got to do with fighting and the like, you also do normal police work, which I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that yet. Like, there's like missions where you have to find people's lost cats And
that's more appealing to me. It's like, yeah, you got these huge monsters and you fight these demons and you got these demons that you can ride and do this and that, and then I don't know, man, you gotta like someone stole someone's car and you gotta like track them down.
It's like good old fashioned detective work.
You gotta be that person that's like, you know what, it's gone. You got insurance, right?
There we go. That's a really important one. Stephen Miller says he also did Nier Automata. Guess where that is on my? Guess where that is, Stephen Miller? Did you guess on my shelf?
On the shelf.
Because
we need a something on the shelf meme for
it's on the shelf.
All right, so we got some more questions here. Daniel Loughton, he asks, "What's the weirdest video game fact you know?"
Oh my God, I don't even think that was the one that might take some thinking because I know stuff about games, but it's like the theory I mentioned earlier about the filing cabinet. Mm-hmm. It usually has to get jiggered, like it has to be like, oh, that game, and
it just
file comes out.
I know some like weird. Like old facts about DDR. So DDR Third Mix, there was a track called Cutie Chaser.
I used to love that track.
And I'm pretty sure that's still the only song in DDR that has a 3/4 time signature. Everything else is 4/4.
I know that Pump It Up came before DDR. That's not really a crazy fact, but tell somebody that in an arcade and they'll throw a glass at you.
Yeah.
Also, that weird old fact that no one talks about because why would you, is that Dana Plato from Different Strokes' final game and only game was Night Trap for the Sega CD.
Jaleel White was the voice of Sonic. I didn't know that. That's new. That was news to me.
Also, that his love for chili dogs came from that cartoon, and then it got brought into the games.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it came from the cartoon into the games.
Yes,
he cool.
loved it. The whole chili dog thing started because of the cartoons.
All right, and then finally he asks, he says but you gotta say both. Is breakfast cereal a soup?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a breakfast soup.
Of course it is.
Honestly, there are more things that are actual soups than people want to accept and admit.
I think breakfast cereal is more soup than most soups.
Yeah, well, because think about what constitutes a soup.
Yeah.
It is a bowl with liquid and there are some crap floating in it. Sometimes.
Okay, is ramen a soup?
Yes.
Okay, is pho a soup?
Yes.
Gotcha.
We can do this all day.
When does soup stop becoming a soup and just becomes hot tea?
Tea could be a soup.
Tea can be a
soup. If you take tea, pour it into a bowl, and slap some leaves in it that you can eat, it's a soup.
Pernell Vaughn, slap some leaves into it.
Yeah.
It's a soup. All right, so my last track comes from Wicked Sephiroth. And this was, I think it was from last month that we didn't get a chance to play it. This is from the game Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers for the PlayStation 4 and PC. This track is called Rak'tika Greatwood Theme 1 for Civilizations.
Oh, before we move into the track, I got to mention this because
I just did all of that.
Too bad!
I laid down the groundwork.
Too bad!
Anyway, we have another question from the Peanut Gallery.
Not so much question, but listener Mike Myers says, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show is loosely based on Mario Brothers 2. And I don't know, I feel weird about that because like Mario Brothers Super Show, I feel like with that one, well, one, I think Pilar was surprised by that. But also, I feel like Mario Super Show was just a crazy amalgamation because they wanted to do this cartoon for Mario, but they had no theme for it because the Mushroom Kingdom back then was just a place. Like there was nothing that defined what the Mushroom Kingdom was. It was just these weird trees and a castle and some platforms. So
Mario 2 was the ending of Mario 2 was it was all a dream, right?
Yeah, well, but Mario 2 was just Doki Doki Panic. Yeah, so that wasn't in itself wasn't.
But it ends, and Mario's just dreaming of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that means that the
none
Super
of it was
Mario
real.
Super Show was a nightmare.
No, that was no nightmare. They went to Pasta Land, baby.
Pasta Land.
And Rap Land. But
Rap Land's my favorite land.
But that was, I think, the fact that...
The 90s Rap Land.
Like, everything...
It was the 80s.
The thing that made it interesting was that since there was no Mushroom Kingdom, and since I'm not sure why they didn't really hamper to hold down hard for Dreamland or Subcom. What they ended up doing was they took all the assets from Mario 2 and all the assets from Mario 1 and just threw them into this world where the Mario Brothers just kind of went wherever the heck they wanted to go. Like, the first episode, they were in like an icy area that had no designation. And then they were in like, the very next episode, they were like in the Wild West for some reason. And there were like characters from the desert land of Mario too. And then as the show went on, it got weirder and weirder and weirder. Again, they went to Pasta Land. They went to Greece. They went to Rap Land, where everything was spoken in rap.
If you want to know more about Purnell's thoughts on...
They went to Brooklyn.
Super Mario Brothers Super Show. The Everything is Awesome podcast festival in Philadelphia.
Oh, dear God.
He went off for like 15 minutes.
For good reason. That was my wheelhouse.
People were like, oh my God.
This guy knows too much about this.
He's right. It was weird.
Yeah. But like
I'm being mean there,
but it's true. Like they took all the characters, like Mike said, they took all the characters and stuff from Mario 2 and they used them to construct the animated sections characters and stuff. I like that.
They took what was pop culture for it wasn't really fully pop culture, but they took what kids, the kids who were playing the video games, what they knew to be Mario Brothers, and said, let's take all of that, because if we leave anything out, you know, like they're going to be like, well, what about this or what about that? Like it just felt like they had free reign to put it all in because they weren't confined into one thing.
Yeah,
because in a cartoon about this thing, about a franchise, sequels didn't matter to them. Of course, now later on, realizing that they were so different because it was originally a different game, I mean, that makes sense now.
Yeah, but it was just, I mean, I look back on, like, I was watching, like, Chris Peterson mentioned he recently watched the rap episode again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've been watching...
We're going to watch that before
all the old, like, Mario cartoons, just, and they still click for me. I don't understand. I think it's nostalgia more than anything, because I'm going to be blunt. The show itself...
It's, like, in your brain somehow. It's like wedged in between...
Yeah, like, there are parts where they would play pop culture songs during segments of the show. And I remember a stupid number of songs before they start. Like, I knew the episode where they played Great Balls of Fire when they were chased by flames from a volcano. And I knew they played Billy Joel, Billy Joel's White Wedding at the episode where he convinced the princess to marry him, or he was going to turn over
Idol?
Billy Idol. There we go. One of those friggin' Billies.
Yeah, Piano Man, you know.
Yeah, he ate piano keys. But yeah, that was the whole storyline there. So they played, White Wedding there, and like it was just these weird references. Like I still remember that. And there was like songs I only heard on that show that I liked that I've never heard on the radio outside of that show. Like there was this I'll have to look it up later because I don't want to even like try to sing the lyrics. It sounds dumb.
Do you know what it was, or it was just something that you remembered hearing?
No, I just know the song had lyrics where it's like, I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
Yeah.
Do. That song. I only knew it from the Mario Brothers. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know what it's called. Doesn't matter. I just know it's a great song. But would I have liked it if I didn't hear it in the context of that show? I don't freaking know.
Well, guess what my next song is, Purnell?
Is it that song?
No. It's, It's It's Billy Joel from the game Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. No.
I am so glad he mentioned Mario Super Show because that was I could talk all day about that darn show. And I'm sure the listeners was like, I hate you for that.
All right, so here we go. From Wicked Sephiroth, this is the Rak'tika Greatwood Theme 1 Civilizations, which I believe, based on the comments on the YouTube page, this is the music that plays when you get a mount. What's a mount?
Let's find out when we come back, because I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I think it's like you get a thing you ride.
That'd be called a mount?
Yeah, it's called a mount. From Shadowbringers, Final Fantasy XIV for the PlayStation 4 and the PC. This one is composed by Masayoshi Soken. you've just listened to Rak'tika Greatwood Theme 1, Civilizations, from Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers for the PlayStation 4 and the PC, composed by Masayoshi Soken. And this was chosen by Wicked Sephiroth. He says, "This one is indescribable. Dat bass and drums with the eclectic instruments from flute to accordion to bagpipes. My brother said it reminded him of Witcher 3. I don't know Witcher 3.
You know where it is on my house. I gotta start it.
On a stack next to your TV. I love this. I love the instrumentation. I love the way it sounds. I love the singing. It really reminds me of Enya, and I really like Enya. It's really cool.
Yeah, I do hear Enya here, but that beginning I still was like la da da.
I know.
Oh, I gotta mention this before I forget.
Okay, so this was another weird video game fact that you have, right?
Yeah, because I think it's close enough that it counts.
Okay.
So just first inquiry. So we were earlier talking about Captain N and Mario Super Show and all that. So as you know, Captain N was known as the Game Master.
Right.
He's good at every video game. He's a monster at them. Except for one. Captain N had a weakness.
Oh, I know that one.
What is it?
It was not Bayou Billy.
It was Bayou Billy.
But in the show, it wasn't Bayou Billy they were showing on the TV. It was like some weird handheld. No, it looked like a light bright. like for whatever reason, like they could talk. Like I never, even when I was a kid, I couldn't figure it out. They could talk about Bayou Billy.
But they couldn't show the footage on the screen.
They couldn't show the footage on the screen. And now when I was a kid, I was like, I've never played Bayou Billy. But I know that's not Bayou Billy.
So now I'm going to go back and double check. I thought they did show the footage from the game, but it was very brief because it was him playing it at home. But they were spying on him at home. I was like, whoa! So his weakness is Bayou Billy. Now we got him because Mother Brain had some Harlem in her. King Hippo! Eggplant Wizard! Still love that
they had
voice.
some crazy voices.
I loved all their voices in that show.
All right, here's another question. This one comes from Jesse Moore. If you could swap soundtracks between two games, which would you swap?
What?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Honestly, I feel like it'd be less of a swap for me because I generally feel like OSTs belong with their respective games. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like I would totally take OSTs from some games and put them into others.
Yeah, like I would definitely like the music from Rystar.
You put it in everything.
I would just put it in everything.
You put it in everything.
No, not true though, because I feel like in, a lot of games that I love personally, it's because the music is intentional. Mm-hmm. With the gameplay and with the game itself. Like either with the story or with the artwork, everything just gels. That's how I feel.
Well, I will say this, something I've come to realize recently. So I've come to take for granted that feeling of music belongs in the game, and it feels that way. I reviewed a game recently called Zenith. It's like some random action RPG or whatever. And for what I came to realize after doing the review was that they commissioned out to a composer and they bought some music that he just makes this general. This is going to be a battle theme, and this is going to be a boss theme.
Okay,
and he just composed a bunch of music. But here's where it gets funny. When I reviewed the game, before I learned this, I was like, the music doesn't sound like it quite belongs. Like I could tell that the music wasn't written for the game. I was like, there's something weird about this. Like I feel like I'm hearing music in the town, but it's not this town's music. It's just some town music. So it was interesting to have come across them. Like, wait a minute, that explains it. They just bought music off of some guy's pad of licenses. But I do feel like games like, say, for example, Mario Strikers. Mario Strikers has a great OST, but you never hear music in the actual game itself. You only hear it during like intermissions and like during the menu screen, like a typical sports game. Like I would totally take music from like River City Ransom of all things and slap it in there.
That is a great take on this. So many sports games don't have any music playing during gameplay. I would take so much other stuff. I would take the music from like Road Rash and put it into any of those EA Sports games where they didn't have any music playing.
Yeah. Actually, I would totally take some Road Rash music and throw it into a Madden football game.
Yeah.
And I would be very happy with that.
I would take the music of Road Rash for the Sega Genesis and put it into Madden 2000, whatever it's on right now, 1920.
1920. Phantom Jess goes, I need to make a shirt that says it's on the shelf.
It's on the shelf.
It's just that would be awesome. It's just like a picture of me like reaching out the shelf to like pick up some random game off of the mountain of games that are just waiting to be used.
All right. What's your final track?
All right, so let's see. Finalito.
Finalito.
This track is from what I consider to be a rather legendary game, and I was glad to see it pop up on the listing of options. This was submitted by listener The Dude. Comes from the game Suikoden, and is called Beautiful Golden City. And I'll get the composer in a minute because I'm really lazy. Welcome back. You're listening to Beautiful Golden City from the game Suikoden for the Sony PlayStation, composed by Miki Higashino and submitted by listener The Dude. And The Dude has some words for this track, which I am going to read now in a dramatic voice. The Beautiful Golden City is the theme for the city of Gregminster. Suikoden is my favorite franchise in all of the games, and Suikoden 2 is my favorite game ever made. This sound holds so much weight behind it, from the story, beats of the game. And every time I hear this song, I'm whisked away to the 12-year-old boy, playing this game for the first time and falling deeply in love with video. Instinct. And that is very good and very true. I can totally get this feeling too, because Suikoden, I played it back when it first came out. It came out before Final Fantasy VII. And a lot of people kind of, at the time, considered it just to be like a placeholder game in anticipation of Final Fantasy VII, which is a total disservice to what this game turned out to be. Because this game deserves all the love it can get. It's fan-freaking-tastic. And the entire OST to this, I still listen to it. I think I've picked multiple tracks from this game throughout the time we've done this show.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we had played this song, but I was thinking of a different one.
I think I did like the Fishing Town theme on the show before from Suikoden.
Something on our Decadence episode.
I did that one. I know that.
I did that one.
That's the track. You know the one.
You know what I'm talking about.
See, I feel ashamed a little bit now, though, because we read that question earlier about swapping two tracks.
Yeah, it's swapping soundtracks between two different games.
And here I am like, I don't know. And then we had listeners who come up with some legit ones because they went at it from the right angle. They went with the humor. So I want to read at least two of them that I see in the chat right now. So listener Chris Stevenson says he would swap the soundtrack from Metroid 2 with the OST from Kirby's Dream Land. I feel like with that swap, Kirby's Dream Land would take the hit, whereas Metroid 2 would get a serious upgrade. Not because Metroid 2 had bad music, quite the contrary, but it was mostly atmospheric.
Yeah.
So to hear that in Kirby, that would be so weird. Like I can't picture Kirby hopping around doing this happy-go-lucky consume everything like a glutton thing and hearing I can hear the SR388 track, but any of the zones.
Well, it would just be a much darker game, you know?
It probably would be.
It would just feel like... And,
all of a sudden, the gluttony would make much more morbid sense.
And Stephen Miller says, why not swap the music from Dark Souls with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
That would be hysterical, too.
I mean, of course, we're imagining the Tony Hawk Pro Skater music in Dark Souls.
That's the better, by far. And then immediately I jumped with that, and so let's go a little bit further with licensed tracks from games. I was like, throw Crazy Taxi in there.
Taxi.
Just here you get up from the bonfire, start a boss fight, and it goes, yeah, 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 yeah. It starts just fighting guys.
Oh my god. Yeah, working in an arcade, like way back in the day, like any of these...
Mario's Paint's music and anything else for Wicked Sephiroth.
Oh, man.
Mario Paint music and anything else.
Well, I was going to say, any of these games, like in the arcade that had licensed tracks, they would, like, the music would always be like really loud, and you would hear the same song over and over again. And that was... Crazy Taxi was definitely one of those games. Yeah, I would love to hear Mario Paint music and everything else. I love Soya Oka. I think she makes some of the best Super Nintendo soundtracks. All right, so we're going to turn this track down, and we're going to get into the part of the show that Pernell and I call the bonus round.
Bonus round. Bonus round.
Well, let's swap it with the other game.
Yeah.
Bonus round.
Day after day, you listen to songs, get in your car and drive like a loon.
It's a bonus round is the part of the show where we play covers and remixes on our theme, and our theme is our listeners. So the bonus track that I picked for today comes from Christopher Shenstrom. Thank you, Christopher Shenstrom. This is from Donkey Kong Country 2, and the track is called Jib Jig. But it is from a video games live compilation called Donkey Kong Country Piano and Player 2, which is really cool. It's got it's a bunch of piano and violin and guitar and horn section arrangements of Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2 soundtracks. And so David Wise, obviously the composer, and this is arranged by Trevor Allen Gomes, and also performed on piano by Trevor Allen Gomes, and violin by Philip Glenn. This was Jib Jig from Donkey Kong Country Piano and Player 2 from Video Games Live, composed by David Wise, and then arranged by Trevor Allen Gomes, and performed by Trevor Allen Gomes on piano and Philip Glenn on violin. It's amazing arrangement. So the whole album of these arrangements are just really well produced, really well arranged too. So we'll have links to that on the website and on the podcast notes.
This was a gem of a choice, man.
Now, Pernell, I know that you don't actually have a bonus round track.
I actually screwed my order up because my quote-unquote bonus round, like his statement was correct. I don't have a bonus round track per se, but it was originally going to be the Astral Chain track because I felt like it would have fit the mold more. But I totally was so anxious to hear it, I just threw it in front.
I didn't realize this is what you were going to do.
So instead, I have a track that I was going to pick earlier in the show, but I'll just play it in the bonus round because it's still a banger of a tune.
I'm excited to put it on.
So this track comes from the game A Hat in Time. And if I recall correctly, because I'm old and thirsty, this was submitted by listener Chris Steenerson, I want to say it was. I knew it when I suggested, but it's not on the list right now.
I'm going to say Chris Steenerson.
So the track title is called Peace and Tranquility. And it was composed by Pascal Michael Stifel.
Yes, Pascal Michael Stifel. And this is from the DLC of Hat in Time, right?
I don't think it was,
but
I could be wrong.
Everything I saw it's called Seal the Deal.
Yeah, that's definitely the DLC.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
welcome back. You are listening to a sweet track from the game A Hat in Time. The actual title of the track is Peace and Tranquility. And I gotta remember who it was composed by because I changed windows.
Oh, I got you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Pascal Michael Stifel.
Thank you kindly. And I have to apologize because I schmaguggled leading into this track. It was actually submitted by a different Chris. We have so many Chris's. It's awesome, but sometimes confusing. This track was actually submitted by listener Christopher Shenstrom. And I am going to drink hot sauce. An apology.
I think it's fine.
I don't
think you need to
hot
do
sauce.
That. You'll do it anyway.
Hot sauce.
Well,
but he had it was a short thing, but he said,
oh, good.
He said, I still haven't played this game. It's on my to-do list, Pernell. Don't worry. But I did listen to the soundtrack while working, and it is really good. Even some remixes are a really good take on the songs used as well. So nice short blurb, but a fantastic blurb.
Yeah, that's good.
Delicious.
Hot
sauce.
You got to stay away from the hot sauce.
I had to drink it. No, I'm not sure if I'm going to go. I don't know how hard I'm going to go on this because there's some scary mess out here. Speaking of hot stuff, you know they brought back those horrible hot chips, right? The one chip challenge.
Did they?
Yeah, I might have to do it.
There was like one chip in a thing.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, the hot chip challenge is a tortilla chip coated in Carolina Reaper dust, sealed in a bag, sealed in a paper coffin. You buy one chip at a time, And at one point, the ones from the previous year was selling for like $60 on eBay to buy a single chip, and they are really, really hot. There's actually a video about me. There's a video of me on YouTube eating one with a friend at MagFest.
Yeah, it looks so painful.
It was interesting to say the least.
God. Well, we'll have links to that. We'll have links to more things on our website, rhythmandpixels.com. We'll also have links to all of the bonus round artists where you can download the music, buy the music, and support the artists. Thanks for joining us on episode 20-2 of Rhythm and Pixels, our live streamed recorded episode for all of our Patreon members. We had a great time tonight.
We really did.
I mean,
I'm still reeling about our discussion about Corpse Party, though. Oh, God.
These episodes run about 90 minutes, but like when we do these things, like we end up just chatting with you guys. We just chat with each other. We do a lot more. It
genuinely, I mean, the listeners can make their own distinctions on if they feel like if this is just me talking out of my Rudy Tooty. But it honestly feels like we're just kind of hanging out with buddies in this chat.
It really is. Yeah.
It's a nice collective. It's not like a massive chat room. We're not going to sit here and be like, there's like 90 people in this chat. There aren't. It's actually single digits of the people who are. We have a lot of listeners, but not too many people come into the chat.
Right.
But the ones when they do come into chat, it feels like a nice group of friends hanging out, just having a cool conversation and being stupid.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm all about.
We really do appreciate that. And if you'd like to say hello to us in other ways, and you're not a Patreon member, you can always send us an email
at rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And if you want to know more about our show and full track listing from all of our episodes and access to all of our episodes, because our podcast feed only goes back to like World 5 because it can only do so much. But see, if you want to see everything, go to the website
rhythmandpixels.com.
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It's Rhythm and Pixels, all one word usually. And we go on Facebook. There is a group called Rhythm and Pixels Chat, and there we just hang out, and we do just that.
Just be goofy.
Be goofy. You can also check out the VGM Podcast Fans chat group on Facebook as well. That's put together by Alex the Messenger, and that's a good place to get to know some other people in this little community of ours. People just really interested in music. You can also go to youtube.com/rhythmandpixels. There we have all of our episodes get uploaded there, except for the last one because I was traveling, but I'll get it up. And so all of our podcast episodes are there. Little silly snippets from our live programs I put in there as well.
I gotta say, the one you put up with the freaking fake swear words, there's something to be said about when you can watch yourself from the past and laugh at it.
It's pretty good.
And I laugh hard at that clip every time I watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, what are some things that I remember happening? I was like, I remember that happening. That was pretty good. So yeah, check that out. Also, we have a 24/7 live stream. It's a radio station on YouTube that people do those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think we kind of made.
Well, we do it too, and it's all 8-bit and 16-bit music. A lot of classics, a lot of deep cuts, and go check that out and hit the subscribe button because that helps us out. Because we're close to 1,000 subscribers, and that would be a really cool milestone to hit.
Yes, it would. Honestly,
we're close to 100,000 downloads,
and that
of the show
that blew my mind.
We're probably past
royally.
that because I didn't start the statistics so much later.
100,000 freaking downloads. So out of just flat out, if you're listening to this show, thank you so much for that.
If you're listening, then you've downloaded, and we appreciate that.
Yes.
I mean, like, we don't get extra money or anything. It's just
it just feels good to know that people like hearing the show.
It's like experience points. You know, once we reach that number, I learned Cure 2. Pernell gets Fire 4.
Yes. But that's what I'm thinking. Is there even a Fire 4?
There is, yeah.
No. In the old game, I mean, they changed all the names like Firaga and
Faraga.
Faragadine. I love how I just merged two games, magic spells, but I digress.
Well,
before we go to the next read off, you were out of the room during the wrap up of this discussion.
Yes. Yeah.
So the group agreed that they liked Nick Walker's suggestion for the Patreon episode.
Oh.
So the next episode is going to be themed. We just got to come up with what the theme will be and give them like 3 weeks notice.
So we'll have
they can choose.
Okay, great. So we'll do a theme, but not for us.
Yeah, it'll be for their for the Patreon submissions.
Easy. Doorknobs.
No, that's ours. We got to do the
episode.
doorknob episode.
All right. Well, moving on. If you would like to support the show, just tell your friends, tell people about it. That is super helpful. You can also support us at patreon.com/rhythmandpixels. And when you help us out there, you get access to these live streamed episodes. It's really just us recording, sitting down, hanging out, and recording the episode. It all happens in real time, like the music and just us chatting. There's really no like breaks and things. It's breakneck speed is what it is.
Well, we drop some mad beats sometimes.
Yeah, we do a lot of dancing. You see us dance a lot.
Rob will beatbox.
I will beatbox. Oh, I will beatbox. So you can check us out there. And we'd like to thank you all at the end of every episode. So I want to thank a new Patreon member, Phantom Jest, who's also in the chat with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you and welcome aboard.
Thank that Nick Walker, Mike Myers, Steve Miller, The Autistic Gamer 89, Cameron Werma, Christopher Shenstrom, Bobby Arson from One Up Funk. Check them out at One Up Funk on Instagram. Wicked Sephiroth, OK Impala, Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast, Michael Bridgewater from the Forever Sound Version podcast, Brian Pitt, Chris Murray, Davey Cakes, That Dude. Is it just That Dude or just The Dude?
The Dude.
The Dude. Duderino.
The Dude.
Martina Guinness. I keep saying it different ways every week. The Last Weekend. Jupiter Jazz. Solus Sanctuary. Damian Beckles. Joe Vassallo. Chris Steenerson. Alex the Messenger, patron saint of all VGM podcasts, and David Smith. Ed Wilson started doing that at the end of his show.
Are you
calling him the patron saint of VGM podcasts?
Because he truly is.
He is. He's spreading the word and he's doing good things, and he died for us. Alex.
And then he rose and he brought a chat group with him.
And he rose again, and he loves hockey. So yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you, Alex. Thank you everybody. Alex has been with us for a long time. Alex and
he may have been our first patron.
And David Smith have been with us for a very long time. So I think he was our first patron. We really appreciate that. So that's what we've got. I think we have a guest next week.
We do, unless it falls through.
Unless it falls through, like things sometimes do.
I know who it is if you want me to name it.
Yeah, I probably don't have the name, but it's always nice.
So, fun. Well, let's just say it when it comes up, just in case. Let's just say it next week.
We'll say it next week. All right. So we have a guest next week. We have a guest the week after that.
Surprisingly
guest the week after
guest
that
too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It'll be a weird one, but I think it'll work.
Yeah, it's been great. People reaching back out to us, and other composers and artists reaching out to us. So that's awesome. I'm really excited about that. It's nice to have some more guests back on the show. Kind of gets like the excitement back on things. You know?
And I gotta say, it also just lets us flex conversations. Because oddly enough, and I was talking to Rob about this, I've been having this weird feeling where, like, you ever feel like you know what the English language consists of, and you can speak words fluently, but you feel as though your skill at applying those words to conversation is starting to wean off or lack.
I have some stories I'll tell later, but I was working those muscles out really hard these past few days.
It's like Ralph Wiggum.
It was really embarrassing.
Like, do you like stuff?
Yeah,
I like stuff. But I tell you,
and as you get older, it just gets harder because you make less time for it.
Yes, for sure.
But that's all right. But hey, we get to have chats with all these wonderful people. And then in November, again, is our 4th podcast anniversary and our 200th episode. If you can think of any ways to celebrate with us or for us to celebrate doing it, like, just let us know.
Maybe if it's something like a game live stream or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like a 24-hour stream. I don't want to do that. That sounds miserable.
Maybe game live stream?
No, a 24-hour stream.
Oh God, no. That's for charity and charity alone.
Maybe we'll get dinner and we'll hang out and play like some games.
I'll never forget. That was still the best part about that live stream. Because it was like 4 a.m. or something, and what was it? Henrik Anderson is from overseas, and he was just waking up to go. Now that was the middle of the afternoon for him.
Yeah.
And he and his girl were about to go run errands. She just pops on the chat, and I'm playing World of Final Fantasy, like head tipped over, barely awake, and he's like, "Are you okay, man?" I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I need food."
We'll do something similar in the future. Although we should say that in November, and we'll have links on the website, and I've linked it on Facebook and Twitter, everywhere else. Michael Bridgewater is doing another charity live stream.
And that thing is glorious
it's
because
not
he
just-
choose some rubbish titles.
Yeah, it's not just 24 hours of games. It's 24 hours of the strangest games for the PC, for the Commodore 64, for the Atari. Like, he's got some weird stuff that he's found. So, and
he suffers for the charity.
and it's really entertaining, and it's for a great cause. So we'll have links to that. But that's it. So this has been episode 20-2 of Rhythm and Pixels. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Purnell.
Have a great night.
And remember, talking to people online is great. Making friends is great online. But strangers are still strangers. Even though the internet has brought us in touch with so many people, never forget what you were taught as when you were young. Be mindful of strangers because people get stupid on the internet. And when they do, back the heck away because it ain't worth it. Jerks ain't worth it. But by that same token, when you stumble across wonderful people worth your energy and time, it's not a bad thing to kind of pass it along to them because it never hurts to make a new friend. You never know. You might be the friend that person needs, or vice versa even. So always be your best person online. Don't let schmugs get you down, and don't give them that energy that they don't deserve because they sure as heck ain't worth it. Cupcakes are delicious, but they're so high in calories. Be mindful of them. Danger!
Be mindful of those calories.
Maybe some of them. Not all of them.